Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're very excited to host this webinar in partnership with Pentair Pool. Today, we'll be discussing the power and versatility of the IntelliFlo3 VSF Pool Pump. Here are today's objectives that we'll cover. We want to understand how the IntelliFlo3 VSF Pool Pump provides easy automation by connecting two additional pool equipment products. We want to learn how to monitor and troubleshoot equipment remotely, saving servicing time. We'll discover how to track pump energy usage using the Pentair Pool app. And finally, stay informed of the implications of the Department of Energy's September 29th, 2025 deadline for single-speed pump replacements. I'd now like to introduce our speakers who will be going through each of these objectives today so that you can fully understand the versatility and power of the IntelliFlo3 pump and how it can make your work life easier. First, we have Adam Key, who has been with Pentair for 15 years. Based out of Cary, North Carolina, he is a senior product manager for Pentair Pool Pumps and has extensive knowledge and background in pump engineering. He'll be taking you through the many cool features that the IntelliFlo3 pump has to offer and how it can help you in your business. And second, we have Yvette Brevik. She is a territory sales manager for Pentair Pool and has extensive experience working with the IntelliFlo3 pump on simple pools and making them smart. But before we dive in, we'd like to do a quick poll. How comfortable are you using the IntelliFlo3 VSF pump as an automation tool? Choose one. Not at all comfortable, somewhat comfortable, comfortable, very comfortable, or not sure. Please respond. We'll wait a few seconds and we will go through the results here live in just about 10 seconds. All right, without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to Adam to discuss these results.
All right, well, thank you, Scott. First of all, welcome everyone. I hope that you had a great holiday weekend. Thank you for joining us. I know it's a very busy time of year, so I really do appreciate you making time to dial in and listen to some important things about IntelliFlo3, and hopefully you learned something. My name is Adam Key. I'm the Senior Product Manager at Pentair Pool. I've been with Pentair for just over 15 years now, with various positions in our new product development engineering group, including leading the team of engineers responsible for our pool pumps. And then more recently, in the last 3 years, I've been in this role as a product manager over our pumps. So I have quite experience with pool pumps, and I'm very passionate about the design and engineering of the IntelliFlo3. And I'm glad to have this opportunity to talk you through this today and tell you about some of the cool features and updates that will help make your jobs easier and help you provide the next level service to your customers.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yvette Brevik. I've been with Pentair for 4 years now as a territory sales manager, and I'm excited to talk about the IntelliFlo3 pump and its ability to take the simplest pool into a smart, efficient system.
All right, so first and foremost, IntelliFlo3, it is a variable speed pump. Hopefully this is not anything new to you. You're aware of variable speed pumps. Hopefully most of you have at least seen, if not installed, many of these pumps. But we really want to start talking about the extra advantages that IntelliFlo3 has. So it's not just a variable speed pump. It's also the only pump that can easily connect to a Wi-Fi system with no extra hardware. There are other products out there that can be put online, but they require extra hardware, which is extra cost. So this pump right out of the box can be hooked up to Wi-Fi and remotely accessed off-site. It's very easy to do and no extra hardware. So in the most simple form, a variable speed pump with remote access for a homeowner or a servicer is a great first step into automation. Automation provides peace of mind that the pump, which is the heart of the pool, is working as it's supposed to, and providing notification when it isn't, allowing for changes to be made to the speed, schedules, or settings without physically being on the pool pad.
Well, let's take it a little bit further, Adam. All IntelliFlo3 models now have the built-in relay board, giving the option to use the pump as a standalone unit or take advantage of its built-in automation features. It's completely up to you. Now, what really takes a pool from simple to smart is connecting your IntelliFlo3 to Wi-Fi and have the homeowner log into the Pentair Pool app. And from there, they can control their pump and the ability to connect to two other pieces of equipment from their phone or their tablet. Now, as a pool professional, you can troubleshoot and monitor remotely using the app, which is a game changer. And it brings a level of convenience and efficiency for yourself and for the homeowners. But let's talk about something that's fun that you can connect to your IntelliFlo3, colored pool lights. When using the app, you can turn them on and off. You can change the colors. You can even set a schedule. The best part is they work independently whether or not the pump is running. So there's no more flipping a switch and guessing what color you're on.
Controlling color lights is a great example of how the IntelliFlo3 acts as both a pump and an automation system. Another popular piece of equipment that the IntelliFlo3 can control is a salt chlorine generator. Equipment like this requires water flowing through it in order to operate safely. While it's not common, the internal flow switches can fail. And by having the power to the salt chlorine generator controlled by the IntelliFlo3, it can be set up such that that generator only receives power when the pump is moving water. If the water stops moving, then the power is removed from the cell. This is a great feature to provide peace of mind that a dangerous situation is not occurring. While this doesn't provide the ability to adjust the set point of the chlorine output, it does automate the operation in a safe way. And as Yvette mentioned, something that is unique about the IntelliFlo3 and the built-in relays is how they work in conjunction with the pump. In other pumps that have these built-in relays, they're directly tied to the RPM of the motor. So it has to be at a certain RPM in order for power to go to those devices. This is a good thing for things like a salt chlorine generator, but it's not necessarily what you want for pool lights. So with IntelliFlo3, you can control these relays independently or dependently on the pool pump. This really gives you a better experience and a more connected experience, and it makes it easier to use and manage that pool. Yvette, given you live in a colder climate than I do, tell me about using IntelliFlo3 with a heater.
Yeah, and especially this week, it's pretty much a standard to have a heater on your pool pad. While you're not able to adjust the temperature through the app, through with the IntelliFlo3, you do have the ability to set the temperature right on the heater and then use the app to turn it on and off. This gives you the flexibility to run the heater when you need it or schedule the heater to turn on at desired times. So far, Adam, we've talked about the three most common pieces of equipment you can connect to the IntelliFlo3 pump: heater, lights, salt chlorine generator, but it doesn't even stop there. You have the ability to control booster pumps, ozone, even UV systems. The relay board really does give you the flexibility to connect and schedule two devices right from your Pentair Pool app. Now, as a pool professional, you can take even the most basic pool and make it smart with the IntelliFlo3. It's a great way to meet a homeowner where they're at, whether they just want to control a couple features or gradually build up to something more advanced. The possibilities are wide open.
All right. Well, we've covered quite a few automation benefits of IntelliFlo3 that make it a great pump and entry automation system for pool owners with basic pools. So let's go over a few things that make this a great system for service pros. Most automation systems available have the ability for servicers to remotely monitor those pools. The IntelliFlo3 is no different. Because it's an internet-connected piece of equipment, servicers can remotely monitor this pump. So this is a great service to offer to your customers, which not only lead to additional revenue streams, but also make servicing that pool even easier. We all know that recovering a pool that has turned green can be difficult and time-consuming, which is costly. Imagine that customer that let the water level drop below the skimmer and the pump lost prime because it was sucking air through the skimmers, and you aren't due out there for another 3 or 4 days. hopefully they're going to notice it and take action, but what if they don't? It's likely that pool is going to turn green. Now imagine a pool that had IntelliFlo3 on it that was set up for you to remotely monitor for that customer. And when that water level dropped and the pump lost prime, you got a notification that Mr. Jones' pump has lost prime. And right from the app, you can click on Call Mr. Jones and you can notify them if something's not right. They can go take a look, and it should hopefully as simple as turning the garden hose on to fill that back up. And now that pump doesn't turn green.
You know, we've all had those customers that like to press buttons, change settings, even change their schedules. When remote monitoring a customer's IntelliFlo3, you can see the pump schedule and settings from anywhere you're at. You can see if they've changed something that you know will end up causing them a problem. If there's something that the homeowner can't fix easily, you'll be able to see that and know what needs to be addressed before you even get to their backyard. You'll know before you go, you'll know how to fix it, and you'll be in and out of someone's backyard very quickly, saving you time and energy. Now, talking about energy, you can see the pump's estimated energy usage right from the Pentair Pool app. Seeing that remotely can tell you what might be going on with the system that may need attention, such as they might need their filters cleaned. That's convenient in being efficient.
Okay, so we've covered some great abilities to see what might be going on with the customer's pump remotely. And we've mentioned that the IntelliFlo3 is a connected product. And we've talked about several great benefits that come from being connected. Another great benefit is the ability for Pentair to update the software on that pump with new features. We also have the ability to add new features to both the Pentair Pool app and the Pentair Pro app. In the very near future, you'll be able to not only see those schedules and settings, but you'll be able to remotely edit those speeds and settings when you're monitoring this pool pump. This gives you the ability to take care of things remotely if it's something as simple as that customers made a change they shouldn't have. But it could also be more proactive. So let's say there's a storm in the area and the customer's away, or maybe they're home, but they're hands off because you have full control over that pool for them. But with that storm coming in, you may know that their pool is going to need some extra filtration in order to keep that water clean and healthy. So remotely, you have the ability to increase the speed of that pump or increase the duration that the pump is running in order to keep that pool from going green because of that storm and the extra debris. So really, this ability is something that you can take advantage of and help take extra care of the customers and keep them happy, and ultimately leading to more business for you. So moving on, another perk of the app in relation to the energy consumption that Yvette just mentioned, another example of a new feature as we innovate and can just update things remotely or in the app, is a historical view of the energy consumption. So with IntelliFlo product, you've always had the ability to see the instantaneous wattage that pump is using. But this new feature gives you a better historical view of that. So you can see it on a daily view, a weekly view, or a monthly view. And what you can see is over time, as that filter loads up, the energy consumption is going to go up. So you can see on this day, maybe or a week, it was using 10 kilowatt hours, and next month it's now up to 20 kilowatt hours per day. You know that it's time to go clean that filter. So we're giving you this visual indication in the app where you can take advantage of that, and you can help provide extra service and know before you go. Because we do know that pool equipment is something that needs constant maintenance, and this is another tool that gives you the ability to schedule that ahead of time instead of being reactive. All right, so the last thing we wanted to go over today was really around the Department of Energy and some of their regulation changes. So we know that several years ago, they passed law requiring all pumps between 1.15 and 5 horsepower to be variable speed when used on filtration. The next iteration of that really covers replacement motors. So today you can still sell to your customers a 2 horsepower single speed motor replacement. Well, that's going to go away. So starting in September 29th of this year, of 2025, all motor replacements in that same space, that 1.15 to 5 horsepower, will have to be variable speed. So whereas before you could, sell them that lower costing fix that now has to go to a variable speed option. So it's really important that we understand the benefits of a variable speed pump, in addition to the benefits of the two-in-one automation with the pump like the IntelliFlo3, because these are all great reasons to upgrade and not just go with the cheaper option that they've had in the past. So it is something that we want to help you with, and it's important that we educate these homeowners. It's not just a more expensive option; it's a better solution that they'll be moving to when they make this upgrade. Um, in conjunction, just as a reminder, variable speed pumps, it's part of helping them with this upsell is lower flow rates, lower speeds equal big energy savings. So single speed pumps, they are running wide open. Well, variable speed pump, we can dial that speed back and cut the speed in half and run the pump longer. So we're getting the same water turnover, the same water filtration, but we're using significantly less energy to do that. So that's where they'll see their payback, and want to make sure that we're teaching these homeowners about that as they make these decisions when it comes time to replace their pump. With that, I'll hand it back over to Scott. I believe you're muted, Scott.
Been doing these for a while, and I guess you still make that mistake. Let's review some of the things we just talked about. The IntelliFlo3 VSF pump is a powerful and versatile pump that lets you do more without doing more. It's a pump that connects to Wi-Fi with no separate hardware necessary. It allows for 2 additional pool equipment products to be controlled. It can easily meet customers where they're at or what type of pool they have or want. Monitoring and troubleshooting can be done remotely to solve issues quickly and prevent situations from worsening. And finally, the pump is DOE compliant. I'd like to take a moment to thank Adam and Yvette for a very informative presentation. Before we get to the Q&A, we'd like to take one final poll. Question is, how much more likely are you to use the IntelliFlo3 VSF pump as an automation tool after attending this webinar? Please pick one of these choices. Not likely, somewhat more likely, definitely more likely, and not sure. We'll take a moment to wait for the results. Hey, that looks pretty good. Definitely more likely. I think that's the result of a really good, informative presentation. Hopefully now you have the information you need to use the IntelliFlo3 pump as an automation tool out in the field. We'll now spend the last few minutes of this meeting answering any questions you may have. And if you haven't already, enter those in the chat box, which you have on your screen. And we'll start with this question that we just got. It says, I still don't understand flow technology. Can you explain it and tell me why it matters?
I can tell what flow technology is. Flow technology refers to the pump's ability to maintain a certain flow rate. The IntelliFlo3 adjusts its speed automatically to keep a consistent water flow. If there's something that is inhibiting the flow, an alert will go off. Adam, could you elaborate a little bit more why this is important?
Sure. So for many pumps out there that don't have this built-in flow technology, they're set to a certain RPM or a certain percentage of its speed capacity, and it's moving whatever water it can with that system. Let's say it happens to be moving 45 gallons a minute, and that's what you need to keep that water healthy. That's going to give you the appropriate turnover and keep things clean, clear, and healthy. But over time, as that filter loads up, so over the course of the next few months, as that filter loads up, you're actually moving less water. There's more restriction in that system. You're moving less water, and you may not be getting the needed water turnover and that in sanitization. So that pool could be, unhealthy. But with this pump, with this built-in flow technology, it will self-maintain. So it'll automatically speed up the RPM of the motor in order to keep that flow rate. So even if the filter loads up, you're still moving the amount of water that you know you need to move in order to get the proper filtration and sanitization of that pool. Um, Another neat benefit about using this flow technology is if you have water features that are sharing the same pump as the filtration circuit, as that filter loads up and a pump's moving less water, that water feature is going to also be moving less water. And it could be spilling water onto the pool deck or it could causing a mess. By maintaining that flow rate, even as that filter loads up, you're still getting the amount of flow that you want coming from that water feature, which could prevent water from draining out of that pool, or be as simple as just keeping the desired visual effect of it. Another thing with it is if the filter does load up so much that the pump cannot achieve that set flow rate, you're going to get an alert from the pump. So it's going to send you an alert that's saying the pump cannot achieve that flow rate anymore, which is a sign for you to take action and remove whatever increased restriction is there, which is more than likely the filter has just been clogged up. So all things that help provide a better experience for that homeowner.
And I just want to remind the audience that we won't get to all the questions, but those will be answered individually because we have your email when you signed up for the webinar. This question comes from Graham Thompson. To view the client's pump while off-site, do you need to log in through Wi-Fi and log in with the client's Wi-Fi email and password?
Only initially. So when that pump is being set up, whether you do that or the homeowner does that, they do need to provision that pump to their Wi-Fi. And then once that's been done once, they can request you to remotely monitor that pump. So if you were the one who installed it and you had used your Pentair Pro app to set it up, whether you put it on their Wi-Fi or they put it on their Wi-Fi, when they click on remote monitoring, your name will be there at the top first in the list, and they click on you and they can request that remote monitoring. And then you'll get a notification for you to either accept or reject that. And once you accept it, you'll have access to see it all remotely from wherever you are. You do not have to be on their Wi-Fi network in order to see that.
Okay. Another question is, I'm going to have a hard time upselling my customers to a variable speed pump when their single speed pump dies. Do you have any suggestions for this?
Yeah, you can focus on the value. You get a quieter, smarter, more efficient, and reliable pump, as well as the consistent control water flow for the other equipment. The less stress, the better water clarity, the longer everything on the equipment pad lasts. And also, this is not just an upgrade, it's an investment that pays off. The IntelliFlo 3 gives you the variable speed, gives you flow, and it gives you automation and phone control. It's a 3-in-1 pump. So you're actually able to offer even more with an IntelliFlo 3 than you would be just a standard variable speed pump.
Quick one for Keith Pollard, who wants to know where the recording of this webinar can be accessed. Those will be emailed out usually within 48 hours or 24 hours. We have a question from Jay Jika. Is it possible to set the VSF pump in service mode to run 24-hour without accessing the app?
Yeah, so I guess in service mode, typically that's reference to with an automation system. You put an automation system in service mode so that it'll stop operation of the attached equipment. But for the IntelliFlo 3, if you just want it to run 24/7 indefinitely, it actually comes that way out of the box. The default program on the pump is to run at 30 gallons a minute, 24-hour days, 7 days a week. So you would just need to adjust that to whatever speed or flow that you need for that pool. And it would by default run for that 24/7. And if that had been overwritten by someone else, you could easily edit that schedule back just by connecting to the pump with the Pentair Pro app.
This is a good question. I'm interested in this answer too. This comes from Glenn Steinheimer, who is talking about when they go to a new customer's pool, how do I tell if the IntelliFlo3 has this new technology when I'm just coming to a new pool?
Can I ask a clarifying question on which new technology? Because the flow technology has always been there. It's not new, so it's guaranteed to have that.
Okay.
But some of the other things with remote monitoring, those actually aren't even tied to the software on the pump. That is just an update to the app. So the ability to remotely control that product instead of just view it, that is something that in the next app release, which should happen within the next week, you would, as long as you have the most recent app, then you would have that feature available to you.
Gotcha. Can the IntelliVibe lights be hooked up to control from the pump too?
So unfortunately, right now that's not something that set up. That does require IntelliCenter in order to utilize the IntelliVibe lights. So for the IntelliFlo3, it would just be set up to control the legacy style color LED lights.
Gotcha. Can you control the salt cell output when connected through the i3 relays?
No, you wouldn't be able to control the output of them. That's something it's not really adjusted too much. You would have to do that on the cell itself. This is just controlling when it's functional and when it's not by adding or removing power to it.
Okay. This comes from Chancey Green. How do you operate this pump in timeout mode during weekly service?
So again, timeout mode, I'm assuming this is in reference to the automation system in timeout. So when you put the automation system in timeout mode, then you would have full access of the pump using the Pentair Pro app through a Bluetooth connection to run it and set it up for whatever you need it to do during that timeout period. Likewise, the pump itself does actually have a timeout feature. So if it's a standalone, there's no automation. You can put it in timeout, in which would prevent the schedules from running for that desired time, whether it be 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours. And then after that time period is up, it would resume its schedules that it was set up to have. So that's all accessed with the Pentair Pro app when you're connected to that pump locally through Bluetooth or in the near future remotely as well.
Gotcha. Can the IntelliFlo3 pump control Hayward or Jandy lights or other products?
So they actually can. The older style lights, there's some newer generation lights that are a little bit different, such as the IntelliVibe lights. But all the other style lights, they're just operated off of a series of on-off power cycles. So right now the IntelliFlo3 can control those. The color codes may not quite line up. That is something that we're working on adding in the future, is to have those appropriately marked and labeled. But currently, if you were to press blue, those competitive lights may not actually turn to blue. They have a different number of power sequences that get to certain colors. So it may be the wrong color, but it will control them. And in the very near future, through a form of a software update, we do intend to add that ability to have those match up.
This question comes from Joshua Heisman. How do the underwater light control and salt control features connect to the IntelliFlo3?
So the relays in the back of the pump do require their own separate incoming power. So for the case of the color lights, you would have your power source, your GFCI breaker, and you would run that to the back of the pump, to the relay. And then from that relay, you would go directly to the light if it's a 120-volt light, or to a transformer to step that down to the 12 volts to that light. So it does require a separate power feed from your power source to the back of the pump, and then from the back of the pump to the device that it's controlling. And the same would be true for the salt cell. You cannot take the power from the pump. That would be in violation of electrical code to take from that same power source.
Another question is, at what horsepower ratings are available for the IntelliFlo3?
That is a great question. There are two different sizes. So we have traditionally, the IntelliFlo has always been a 3 horsepower pump. So with the IntelliFlo3, the third generation, we have a 3 horsepower version, but we've also introduced a smaller version. So we now have a 1.5 horsepower version, which is typically enough pump power for pools that are 20,000 gallons or less. You have more than enough for filtration needs, but if you do have water features or spas and you need the larger pump, we have the 3 horsepower version for that.
Okay.
And then I will also add in there the 1.5 horsepower can run off of 115 volts as well. So the 3 horsepower is 208 to 230 volt only. The 1.5 horsepower can run off of 115 or anywhere from 208 to 230.
I think you touched on this topic before, but since we got another rephrasing of it, let's go over this again. Can the IntelliFlo3 connect and control any Wi-Fi ready device, or does it have to be a Pentair device?
So the IntelliFlo3 is a Wi-Fi device in itself, but it actually doesn't talk wirelessly to other equipment. It's just a means of turning the power on and off to other equipment. So it's just Wi-Fi in order to get to the cloud, which interfaces with the apps, but to other equipment, it is a wired connection.
Okay. Can the relays operate valve actuators?
No, they're not designed for that. They are designed for just on-off operation. They weren't meant to control valves. For valve actuation, you would need a true automation product such as IntelliCenter.
Tom Bonner writes, can I control the SuperFlow pump via an app?
No, you would not be able to do that. You would need to add on something like IntelliConnect in order to be able to control that with an app, or even full upgrade to an IntelliCenter, a true automation product.
Okay. I think that's all we've got time for today. I'd like to thank everyone for all these questions and for attending this really informative webinar. We had one of our record audiences, which speaks to the interest in this product. Lastly, before we go, we just want to give a quick plug for the Pentair Partners Program. We recommend joining the program to unlock exclusive access to innovative products and business tools that empower dealers to elevate their business. It's more than rewards. It's about building a strong partnership that supports each dealer's unique goals and makes success fun and achievable. Scan the QR code or go to www.partners.pentair.com to learn more. And I just want to thank you, Yvette and Adam. It was a great presentation. And to everyone who attended, this webinar will be emailed out to you within 48 hours. And have a great day. We can all get back to work.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.